Hello and welcome back to Bottom. My name is Beast. Today we're back with SenMomo, and Arcady's taking a dip. Something important that I feel the need to mention right now is that I've mentioned in a community post that I've been getting hacked left and right. I've not managed to solve that entire issue. I specifically also talked with someone yesterday, and he talked about how in all likelihood, since it was essentially like 3 in rapid succession, that in all likelihood, when I tried to install SenMomo and accidentally got the wrong thing because Ryu Games is cringe now, it installed like essentially a life tracker, quote unquote, that essentially grabs my cookies and all that shit to essentially circumvent two-factor, and it's currently inactive. And in order to catch that thing, we need to wait for it to be active again to then catch it. So there is a possibility that something's happened again, but hopefully the next time something does happen, we catch it and we can get rid of it. I cannot thank the guy that's helping me with that enough. You the goat, John. But yeah. Stay careful. Until I, in video format, tell people, hey, it should be handled, do not trust things I post in writing. Okay? Okay. Anyways. Comfortable floating sensation of loves my body. Oh, that's right, I sank into the river. Huh? I can still breathe. How? I must have died. Unable to avenge my mother, I sank to the depths of that river. It's all finally over now. I finally realized that all the pent-up exhaustion leaves my body. Ah, what a wonderful feeling. Fond and familiar sight plays across the back of my eyelids. Our moon villa deep in the mountains with a large persimmon tree. I will say, one thing that I like about this game is, by God, there's so many fucking CGs to use as thumbnails. Whether rain or snow or billowing winds, there I find myself swinging my wooden blade day after day, generating my relentless training that I might someday strike down Mother's killer. Never even held a blade before this. My hands are soon covered with blisters, and the searing pain causes me to lose strength in my grip. Still, I don't rest my hands for even a second. I continue tirelessly swinging my blade, waiting for the time to come. God, I don't know why this just reminds you like that one fucking episode in GX last season where Jazz essentially has to be the fucking assistant for Aster, and then he finds him like training the dueling, and it's literally just him drawing cards over and over again until his fucking hands bleed. Like that's gonna do literally anything for his skills as a fucking duelist. It's just so fucking funny. Or the fucking, like, the Cyber Dragon dojo where they also, like, continuously do, like, fucking card draws like they're practicing, like, martial arts kata or something. It can be fucking absurd sometimes. Anyways, when I would drop my blade, I'm harshly rebuked.
そのようなことで陛下の仇を討てるとお思いか。姫としての責務を今一度ご確認されよ。
I've always thought of Satonaka as more of a second mother than the Imperial Chamberlain. Ever since I was young, she had hardened her heart to scold me for my childish folly. As luck would have it, Satonaka knows her way around a blade. Once I become skilled enough to receive her blessing, I will surely be able to strike Okanogi down.
どんなに苦しい鍛錬でも乗り越えてみせる。そしてどれほど苦しい道であろうともお母様の仇を討ってみせる。
Satonaka and I vowed to each other to cast aside all common comforts until the day we avenge Mother's death. Keep our meals simple and our resting time to the bare minimum. I refrain from leaving the manor in order to dedicate every waking moment to my training and studies. Otherwise, I'll never be able to slay Okanogi. He who at this very moment sits in the imperial palace reigning over the empire as its tyrant. After 6 months of living in Ise, I received a letter. That's a tablet, actually. It states that Okanogi has arrested every last person who once served in the imperial palace. The Satanakas have served the imperial family for hundreds of years. Among those arrested are not only Satonaka's spouse and children, but even their distant relatives.
ごめんなさい、里中。私たちが国を奪われたばかりに。
お気遣いは無用にございます。我らは代々皇家にお仕えする身。敗戦の時より皆覚悟はできております。姫様はただおこのぎを打つことだけをお考えください。そして歴代の皇帝陛下のお名前を汚さぬよう立派なお覚悟をお示しください。
Since time immemorial, emperors who failed to prevent disasters have given their lives to beg Omikami's forgiveness. That is our pride and purpose as sovereigns of this land. I've had this creed drilled into me from the day I was
皇
born.
家の名は汚しません。里中。もっと私を鍛えて。
From that day on forward, I redoubled my efforts and training. I cut down on my sleep time and continued training until the dead of night. Whenever she notices my heart begin to waver, Satanaga strikes me without mercy. It is unthinkable that a court lady should raise her hand against the imperial princess, but I welcome it. Satanaga cannot hold back her tears as she beats me. My body quickly becomes covered in bruises. It hurts. It hurts so much I lose track of how many times I nearly broke down in tears. Even so, I continue with my daily training. One thing that brings me succor is the persimmon tree in the courtyard. The persimmons I eat during my short breaks between training have a deliciousness to them I've never tasted elsewhere. The sweetness that envelops my tongue serves to remind me that I'm still alive. Another year passes and I receive another letter. It states that all those arrested by Okanogi have returned to the darkness from whence they came. Satonaka simply closed her eyes for a brief moment before regarding me with a kindly gaze containing not one hint of approach.
姫様、本日の鍛錬を。
Strike Okanogi down, then atone for the mistakes of the imperial family. Satonaka's silence conveys those sentiments louder than any words. Training, ever harsher training. It is all I am able to do, that I might avenge Mother, that I might redeem the sacrifices of the fallen. For all this, I must become stronger. I don't remember if the persimmon trees bore fruit that autumn.
柿、美味しそうでございますね。
There's another option. Bright voice rings out from
もう
nowhere.
熟しておりますが、召し上がらないのですか？
Look up to find the branches sagging with ripe fruit. Couldn't form the words. All the days of intense training have dispossessed my body of the superfluous skill of speech.
私はいい。あなたが食べて。
When I finally squeeze out the words, the girl wipes a persimmon with the edge of her sleeve and begins happily munching on it. Seeing her innocent smile, my spirits brighten for some reason.
祈りとは
Strange reason.
大神のお恵みなのです。収穫せずに放置するなど許されることではございません。なら気の済むまでどうぞ。本当ですか？いえ、仕方ありませんね。ではおいおい。
The girl bobs her head at me and gaily skips away. Watching her profile recede into the distance, I tighten my grip on my blade. It somewhat feels lighter all of a sudden. Perhaps the sweetness of that girl tasted that the girl tasted energized my own body as well. True to her word, the girl comes again the next day and the day after that. It seems she's taken quite a liking to the persimmons.
係様、柿は切るものではなく食べるものです。必要ない。お嫌いですか？こんなに美味しゅうございますのに。
The girl's face is so charmingly plump as the persimmons she eats day in and day out. As thanks for them, she heals my injuries with her magics. My hands with calluses thick as gloves, and my battered and bruised body all returned to being as unblemished as the day I was born.
様、今日は包丁を持ってまいりました。私のように皮ごとではお気に召さないのでしょう。お一つは無理でも、せめて一口くらいはお召し上がりくださいませ。
Girl P is a persimmon and is insistently opposite to me.
見てください。熟しすぎて用事が突き抜けてしまいます。美味しそうですよ。
Persimmon tumbles out of the overeager girl's hand. I catch it and slowly bring it to my mouth.
熟してる。そうでございましょう。
The girl smiles radiantly from ear to ear. The sight of it warms my heart much more than the fruit abates my hunger. At the same time, it only serves to remind me of my guilt. Her presence is a balm for my weary body and spirit, that which I am entirely unworthy of, not while Mother's killer still draws breath. I'm sure that Satonaka would feel the same way. Recently, Satonaka's been bedridden with sickness. She has trouble even getting up, yet she obstinately refused to let me take care of her. She says that if I have the time to attend her, I have the time to be training
こ
harder.
こに来るのは今日で最後にしてほしい。
なぜでございますか？
Say nothing and return to my training. Strike Okunogi down, then atone for the mistakes of the imperial family. My interminable days of training continue once more. This is for the best. I have no need for an ordinary life. Nobody to eat them anymore. The persimmons eventually fall to the ground. White snow eventually buries the ground, stained with overripe persimmons. As the temperature descends, Satonaka's end draws near. The day after a heavy snowstorm, she beckons me to her bedside.
ここより毎日拝見しておりましたが、姫様のお力はもう十分でございます。
Perhaps she senses her impending death as Satonaka's words are unusually kind today.
里中、私にはまだ教えてもらいたいことがあるの。
病に侵されたこの身、もはや姫様の足かせでしかございません。
Satonaka smiles peacefully up at me.
妙義館の伊能国安様から伺ったことでございますが、人を切ったことのあるものとそうでないものではいざという時の動きに雲泥の差があるとのことでございました。鍛錬では埋めることのできぬ差なのだそうです。
Sensing her intentions, my hand begins to tremble.
いざという時、そのように手が震えては撃てるものも撃てなくなりましょう。この里中めに最後のご奉仕をさせていただければ。
バカを言わないで。里中は風邪なの。もう少し寝ていればきっと治る。
姫様。
Satonaka turns to face me, her eyes cloudy with sickness.
ダメよ、里中。
勇気をお出しください。姫様に命を捧げること、里中にとってはむしろ喜びでございます。
A gentle smile threatens to suffocate me. For the past 3 years, Satonaka has always ruthlessly loomed over me as an iron-fisted overlord. She treated me so strictly that I thought many times of killing her. So why in her final moments must she look at me like this?
姫様、私が死んでからでは意味がございません。命が尽きる前に早く。
里中。
Letting out a soundless scream, Akari suddenly bolts upright. Sweat is gushing from her brow and her shoulders are trembling. She turns to look at me, a startled look on her face.
そうし、
She moves her lips slowly as though to confirm each individual sound.
私川の底に。
ほとりが引き上げてくれたらしい。
犬？
Akari looks around.
そうか。夢を見てたんだ。よかった。
体調はどうだ？
Akari moves around different parts of her body to check her
大
condition.
丈夫みたい。
よかった。
Breathe a sigh of relief and pour her a cup of lukewarm tea. Akari takes a teacup with both hands and gingerly drinks it little by little.
宗人の体はどう？
何一つ問題ない。
そう。体を張った甲斐があったわね。
Straight in my posture even as Akari beams at me.
一人で気を失うなど無人の恥だ。
Hold my wakizashi out in front of me and with both
何
hands.
それ。腹なんか切られても嬉しくないから。
Akari forcefully sets down her teacup.
死なせたくないから助けたの。わかる？
だが申し訳が立たない。
そう思うならもう私の前で倒れないで。ああいうのは心臓に悪いのよ。主をいたわりなさい。
The last I remember of the previous night is right up to when the Republican army found us. After that, Akari apparently carried us while braving a hail of bullets and managed to leap into the river. Even in the face of such mortal danger, she never breathed a single word of reproach.
二度と醜態を晒さないよう一から鍛錬し直すつもりだ。
真面目ね。せっかく助かったんだからもっと喜んでよ。私が悪いことしたみたいになっちゃうじゃない。
助けてくれたことは心から感謝している。これは本心だ。その上でなぜ俺を置いて逃げなかった？
は？
Akari freezes where she sits. Her cheerfulness instantly drains from her expression.
助けられたのが迷惑だったってこと？
俺を置いて逃げるのが正解だったと思う。下手をすれば君も琴音も死んでいた。
助けてもらってその言い草はないでしょ。私がどんな気持ちであなたを運んだと思ってるのよ。
Akari punctuates each question by slamming the tatami with her hands. It's only natural that she'd get angry, but as a vassal, there's an objection I absolutely must voice.
だからどんな気持ちだったのかを知りたい。なぜ足手まといの進化を見捨てなかった？君が死んでしまえば全てが終わりだ。
あなたを助けたかったからに決まってるじゃない。自分が生き残るために私は大切な人を見殺しにしろって言うの？
それが正しい選択だ。
黙りなさい。仮に正しくてもそんな人間になりたくない。
Akari glares at me.
戦争であなたに助けられてから私はずっと宗人の背中を追ってきたの。剣術の稽古を乗り越えられたのだってくじけたら宗人に笑われると思ったから。宗人は私の支えだったの。見殺しにできるわけないじゃない。わかる？
俺をそのように思っていてくれたのか。
She self-consciously wrings her hands in front of her chest.
だから何？いいじゃない。私の勝手でしょ。
She looks downward, her cheeks flushed. Map, she feels that way, but
主従の間に慕情は不要だ。そのために判断を誤る主を俺は信頼できない。
宗人！
Akari's face is ablaze with equal parts shame and
俺
indignation.
たち武人は主のために命を懸けて戦う。家族や恋人であろうとも敵ならば迷わずに切る。だからこそ主に揺らいでもらっては困るんだ。君が鋼の意志を持って進んでいる限り俺はいつどこで死んでも置き去りにされても恨まない。
Fix my gaze firmly on Akari as I
武
speak.
人には武人の主には主の戦いがある。そこを分かってほしい。
わからないわ。そんなこと。
Akari says, barely above a whisper before diving into her futon.
少し休ませて。
待て。
出て行きなさい。
分かった。
Leaving it there, I stand up.
君が無事でよかった。あと助けてくれてありがとう。君とまた話をすることができて俺は嬉しい。
In lieu of a reply, Akari rolls over in a futon.
バカ。
March 15th. Today is the day Empress Hisu is attending our academy. When I step outside, I run into Akari. I haven't talked to her since what happened yesterday.
おはよう。
おはよう。
Aki's eyes are a little red around the edges. I've averted my gaze to avoid looking directly at her.
体調はどうだ？
問題ないわ。宗人は？
こちらもだ。
She looks away awkwardly, twirling her
昨日
hair.
は率直な意見をくれてありがとう。内容はともかく意見をくれたことには感謝します。
偽らざる気持ちだ。内容も少しは考えてくれると嬉しい。
善処します。
His eyes with a stiff expression. I suppose it's too much to ask for after just one day.
おはようございます。お二人ともお元気なようですね。
You sound dead. You're greeted by someone who looks much closer to death.
おはようございます。昨日はご迷惑をおかけしました。
いえいえ、構いませんよ。ただ、終戦記念式典が近いせいで軍の警備も苛立っていますからね。目立った行動は。
Gunshots ring out from the
ほ
distance.
ら、朝からこれです。お盛んですよね。
Manager says with a dejected shrug.
気をつけます。
ええ、いってらっしゃい。
行ってきます。
Akari gives him a short
あ
bow.
かりさん、
Magic calls out to Akari alone, sensing his attention to head on without her.
何でしょう。
特別にこれを差し上げます。
飴玉？どうしてですか？
目にいいらしいんです。それでは、いってらっしゃい。
Persica Blossom Festival is this weekend, and the whole city is in the process of being decked with resplendent decorations. But simply, the Persica Blossom Festival is a flower viewing holiday spanning all of Tenkyo. During the festival, nearly everyone takes time off except workers in the service industry. The revelers stake out their favorite locations, admire the peach flowers in full bloom, and enjoy wonderful food and drink and company. Taking place at the end of every March, it's an event for all of Tenkyo's residents to truly appreciate the coming of spring.
月染め祭か。
Akli lets out a heavy
嫌
sigh.
な思い出でも？
お祭りの夜はね、親の前で必ず舞を披露させられたの。月染めの舞って言って皇家に昔から伝わっているものでさ、もう恥ずかしくって毎年逃げ回ってた。
俺としてはぜひ見せてもらいたいな。
ダメダメ、絶対見ても楽しくないし。お母様の舞はため息が出るくらい素敵だったけど、
Akari falls silent for a moment, narrowing her
今
eyes.
年は街のお祭りが見られそうだから今から楽しみ。
ああ、そうだな。
Even in times like these, the prospect of the Persica Blossom Festival can't help but set the heart to flutter. But the Armistice Day ceremony will be coming in on Sunday to spoil the good spirits. After the War Okanogi designated March 20th as Armistice Day to commemorate the cessation of hostilities. Was the day signed a peace treaty with the Republic as plenipotentiary of the Empire. Every year on this day, the government holds a grand memorial ceremony. For Republicans, it's a day to celebrate their glorious victory in the war, but for Imperials, it's a day of disgrace.
祭りだけならいいのだがな。
終戦記念式典だっけ？去年の式典はどんな様子だったの？
まず、式典の前に共和国軍の閲兵式がある。主要な道路を封鎖して陸軍を行進させるんだ。それを金で雇われた広告人が旗を振って歓迎する。式典では総督と翡翠帝が並んで立ち、高級の平和を誓う声明を交わすのが恒例だ。夜になれば泥酔した共和国の軍人が街に溢れ出して大騒ぎ。去年は一般人がどれだけ犠牲になったかわからない。
何よそれ。
Like previous years, though, this year we intend to get one over on the Republican Army. At Sworn Blades meeting the other day, we made plans to raid a military storehouse on the day of the ceremony. According to Koyuzu's intel, quite a few spellblades are stored
つ
there.
まり終戦記念式典って広告が共和国に支配されていることを見せつける場所なわけね。政治的には。
だな。そもそも皇帝陛下が誰かと並んで立つなど戦前ではありえない。
当たり前。おまけに共和国と平和を約束するなんて呆れて物も言えない。
今日は翡翠帝ご本人が投稿される。荒れるのは今だけにしておいてくれ。声高に糾弾などしたらむしろ広告人が怒るぞ。
厳しい一日になりそう。
忍耐力の試験だと思えばいい。
Try to help raise Akari's spirits as we walk down the road to school. A crowd of people is gathered in front of the school gates.
所持品検査か。さすがに今日は厳重だ。
わざわざ投稿してこなければいいのに。
武器は持っていないな。
もちろん。
Ask her just to be sure before we submit to the inspection. Next to Miyaku's face is the very picture of sourness. This inspection doesn't serve any purpose beside to humiliate us.
おはようございます。宗人、宮国さん。
Rochelle waves at us from a bench in the courtyard. I don't know why, but he seems like a bastard the more and more I look at him.
最近はいつも二人で投稿していますね。何よりです。
相変わらずその手の話題か。君は好きだな。
お気を悪くしないでください。こう見えて実は恋愛小説というものが大好きなんです。そんな私からすると君たちはとてもお似合いに見えます。
君の目は当てにならないな。
ええ、まったく。
Aki takes a step away from me, putting on a strained smile.
私に何かお手伝いができるといいのだけれど。
Crosses his arms and ponders earnestly.
思いつきました。西の国のおとぎ話ではよく悪い魔女が
もういいもういい。
From the looks of things, he's about to start going on and
俺
on.
たちのことより自分のことで頑張ってくれ。
そうですか。結構冴えたプランなんですが。
間に合っている。
残念。
Say goodbye to Rochelle and make for the school
どん
building.
な恋愛小説を読んでるんだか。
全く謎だな。
After the first period, we suddenly hear an announcement on the school's
生
intercom.
徒会からの連絡です。全学生は成長してください。
The student council president's voice flows from the
本日、
speakers.
翡翠帝陛下が当校へいらっしゃることはご存知かと思います。現在のところ、あと20分ほどで到着のご予定です。
20 minutes from now would be in the middle of second
授
period.
業中ということもありますし、陛下ご自身、騒ぎになることは望んでいらっしゃいません。校門へ出るなどといった行為は控え、通常通り勉学に励まれることを期待します。同校は分別のある学生が集まる場所だと信じております。くれぐれも冷静な行動を心がけてください。以上です。
翡翠帝の御前だ。節度ある行動を取らねば。
Hotri gives a single solemn
無
nod.
理だな。無理ね。早く行かないと場所が取れないし。
Akari and Shido immediately begin planning their route.
お前たち。
ふんふんふん。今頃慌ててももう遅いですよ。私の用意周到さに恐れおののくと良いと思います。じゃじゃん。
Hotri withdraws a scrap of paper from her bag.
何これ？屋上観覧席待つ1500円？
これさえあれば屋上から翡翠帝を悠々拝見できるのです。
Hotri's arm flashes through the air. The rooftop viewing ticket front row is reduced to tiny scraps drifting on the breeze.
陛下を見下ろすなど。
Hotri deftly returns the hairpin she'd used as a makeshift knife.
私の1500円が。
泣くことはない。その剣は私が作った偽物だ。
あ、そうでございますか。安心しました。あれ、何か問題発言があったような。
Shino hands Kotri her money back, laughing uncontrollably all the
と
while.
もかく節度ある行動を取ろ
つまらない人ね。
う。武人はただの剣だ。色は不要。
はいはい。堅物なことで。
Brushing me off, Akari stands and starts walking off. The second period begins. As the scheduled time approaches, the classroom is filled with an atmosphere of anticipation like that of counting down to midnight on New Year's Eve. He's here! In the blink of an eye, all our classmates glue themselves to the windows facing the school gate. The only ones that remain seated are me, Hotri, and the president among some of her entourage. We all share a glance with each other and collectively sigh.
こうなるよね。
さっきの放送は逆効果だ。
むしろ騒ぎにしたかったのかな。
ならじっとしていられないか。
そうね。
Stand up and move behind my classmates crowded at the window. Look at the courtyard and notice a convoy of cars that's just come to a stop. A cautious-looking guard first steps outside. He proceeds to the backseat door and opens it, remaining vigilant of his surroundings.
いらっしゃいます。いらっしゃいますよ。
A pair of beautiful legs is the first we see of her. Then, as though unfurling her long restricted wings, a uniform-clad Empress Hisui basks in the radiance of the early spring sun. No single person dares to speak. All that can be heard are faint sighs of admiration. It seems true beauty is capable of silencing anyone, no matter their nationality. Empress Hisui slowly surveys the students watching her from above.
初めての登校で遅刻をしてしまいました。
A swell of excited cheers erupts throughout the classroom. Is Kotane okay? The exiled priestess howls with elation.
あれは反則だ。誰でも落とされる。
そうね。悔しいけど。
やっぱり本物の陛下は違うね。
あ
あ。ああ、じゃない。
She takes her fist into my abdomen, but it doesn't hurt at all. Like, she just fucking punches him. Just X-ray. Her fucking knuckle bones just pulverize.
安心しろ。冗談だ。
うるさい裏切り者。
She pulls back her fist, glaring at me all the while.
見てください。陛下が手を振ってくださいますよ。
Empress Hisui is waving her hand in response to all the students watching her from the windows. Not anyone individually, to be sure. But it is already most gracious of her to acknowledge our presence. As for me, however, I can't help but see her as just a pitiful puppet. It is still a fact that her smile has healed the hearts of countless imperial citizens. I have nothing but the most sincere gratitude for this nameless girl playing the role of Empress. Of course, that doesn't mean everyone respects Empress Hisui in the same way. Among the Republicans gathered by the window, some are whistling or pointing while jeering at her. To them, she's nothing more than a spectacle.
行くな。
Grab Hotri by the scruff of the neck right as she's about to jump them. Here she was, the one saying we should act with prudence, but seeing Empress Hisui insulted already has her like this.
皆さん、ありがとう。
Empress Hisui surely saw the Republican's malicious gaze, yet she doesn't break her smile. She continues politely waving her
こんに
hand.
ちは。よろしくお願いします。
Empress Hisui waves in our direction.
こんに。
My brother senses are tingling. Where? Empress Hisui stares directly at me. Her eyes are opened as far as they can be. She's definitely looking right at me.
お兄様。
Her lips move, but she's too far away for me to read what they are saying. What on earth did she say? Empress Hisui freezes up and the crowd begins to murmur. Empress Hisui lets out a sudden cough. But she quickly floats a benevolent smile and starts waving in another direction.
陛下が俺を知っている。
I don't have any recollections of meeting Empress Hisui. Could we have met somewhere before the war?
私、目を合わせていただきました。
あれは誰とも目が合っているように見せるテクニックなんだ。
違います。絶対に合わせてくださいました。どうしたの、宗人。石像みたいになっちゃって。
目があった。
あのね、そうい
間違いない。
目があって、宗人のバーカ。
Akari stalks back to her seat. In the courtyard, Empress Hisui finally finishes her salutations and heads for the visitors' entrance. A fake empress created by Okunogi, huh? Just who might she be? Lunch break! Major incident has occurred in the cafeteria. Empress Hisui has come to eat.
皆さん、本日私は一人の学生としてここにおります。特別扱いせず、日常のままに過ごしてください。
When she says this at the entrance, her escorting guards silently make themselves scarce. Seems like she really intends to act as a student.
大丈夫なの？
一応説明役の学生が控えているようだな。
The first obstacle is the buffet. Albeit with some perplexion, Empress Hisui manages to place food on her plate. She has probably never been in the position of selecting her own meal. Come think of it, has today's food ever been tasted for poison? The more I watch on, the more agitated I become.
じろじろ見るのは失礼だぞ。
そうだな。
日常のままにというご要望だから。
Akari is also trying her best not to act conscious of her. To Akari, Empress Hisui is her own imposter. Though not as much as Okanogi, she clearly bears some amount of resentment against her.
何？
Akari casts her sharp gaze upward. She's still in a bad
答え
mood.
てくれて助かる。
そこまで子供じゃないから。
Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure about that? I don't believe you. I don't believe it for a second. Sorry, like I am mildly like paranoid because of this. I do need to regularly check all like the usual accounts that I use to make sure that nothing untoward is happening right now. Nothing there, nothing there. Nothing there. Okay. Oh, hey. Fucking tweet about Bon merch. I really like Bon, even though I've never watched a single one of her live streams, actually. It's just, I really like the character design. I just vibe with it. I'm into it. With that brusque remark, she digs into her agadashi tofu. We both chose the same meal. How cheap. This tofu's awfully cheap. Not to mention the flavor of the frying oil is rather lacking. Really should have just gone with cold tofu. But they always only ever offer scallions as an accompaniment. I'm a die-hard ginger man myself, and you couldn't call yourself a warrior if you'd compromise there on...
掃除。
Hotori raises a sharp voice. Following her gaze, I see a group of Republicans starting a photo shoot with Empress Hisui. Republicans point their cell phone cameras at whatever interests them, as they always do. Taking personal pictures of Her Majesty would be unthinkable for an Imperial, but Republicans don't understand the sentiment. In fact, there's even a possibility they're taking pictures of Empress Hisui as a way of showing their goodwill. Sure enough, the cafeteria begins buzzing with commotion. Because of the cultural differences, our displeasure doesn't get through to the Republicans. The crowd of photographers expands more and more, until at last one of the students stands shoulder to shoulder with Empress Hisui and makes a rabbit ear shape with her fingers.
Hotori!
I grab Hotori's arm and hold her back.
行くな。
A few Imperial students try to tear the photographers away, and thus the arrow of pandemonium is loosed.
とうとう切れたか。ことね、どっちが勝つと思う？
Her frustrations must have reached a boiling point as the outnumbered Imperials make up for it with their determination.
ホトリ、翡翠帝を助ける。
お願い。
明かりは怪我のないようにしてくれ。
I leap over the table and plunge into the middle of the melee.
ちょっと、ひし。こら、ことね。どうして抱きつくの？
I know you! I know the kind of person you are! I'll trust you!
行かせませぬ。行かせませぬぞ。
まあまあ、見てればいいじゃないか。
ああ、もう。
I weave through the gaps between people. I deftly dodge the occasional flying fist and elbow without returning blows. Shouldn't rock the boat any more than necessary. I dodge the incoming fist of a soldier-looking fellow. After lightly sidestepping the last person blocking the way, I leap and land right in front of the Empress Hisui. Empress Hisui trembles with a start.
ここは危険でございます。私と共にお逃げください。
She meets me with a gaze of pure astonishment. Is it even possible for someone to be this shocked? Her body is frozen stiffer than a wax figure and she stopped breathing entirely. I lift Empress Hisui in my arms. Prior to meeting Akari, I would have never have dreamed of laying a hand on Her Majesty without
舌
hesitation.
を噛まれませんよ。
Step atop a nearby table and leap off. With a single bound, I clear the crucible of chaos below. I thought her frozen in fear, but Empress Hisui's countenance appears tinged with enjoyment at the present situation. Seeing the innocence of her expression inexplicably puts my own heart at ease. Unmistakably, I feel a sense of kindred familiarity at the sight of her smile. I alight at a spot near the exit of the cafeteria. I move to set Empress Hisui down, but her thick arms are still thin, not thick, thin. She just has fucking gorilla arms. Thin arms are still wrapped tightly around my neck. The soft touch I feel is unmistakably that of a woman. Stop it.
もうここで。
もうですか？
は？
Damn, I wanted to go longer. Run circles around the school. I want to be carried. As soon as I set Empress Hisui down, her guards, who were caught up in the chaos, come rushing over. They insert themselves between the two of us, as though insinuating I'm a threat.
下がりなさい。この方は私を助けてくれたのです。
The Empress calls off her guards. As a show of etiquette, I kneel before her Majesty.
突然のご無礼をお許しください。
いいえ、そなたには礼を言わねばならぬようです。助かりました。ありがとう。
ありがたきお言葉。
I lower my head further.
そなたには礼をしたいと思います。何か望みはありますか？
いえ、私は武人として当然のことを。
I nearly answer on reflex, but reconsider. I can use this to my
許
advantage.
されますならば。
Withdraw a Koja flower business card from my wallet and present it to Empress Hisui via bodyguard.
麹屋青果店。花屋ですね。
恥ずかしながら、現在はそちらで働いております。鉢植えの一つでも陛下にお届けできれば、これ以上なき光栄にございます。
わかりました。後日連絡させましょう。時に、私が何の花を好むか知っていますか？
I'm not. It is the height of negligence. Flowers are my livelihood, yet I am ignorant even of Her Majesty's preference. But to be fair, Her Majesty is ultimately an
不
imposter.
勉強にて存じ上げません。
さようですか。意地悪なことを聞いてしまいましたね。
In contrast with her cheerful smile, her eyes betray a forlorn loneliness. To think that she is someone capable of such mysterious expressions. I know full well that she is Akidi's enemy, yet I can't help but take an interest in her character.
忘れな草を頼みます。
Forget me not. As words stir up a long-forgotten feeling within my chest, a gentle, refreshing breeze passing through a field of
か
spring.
しこまりました。
So ends my conversation with Empress Hisui.
しばらく。
Empress Hisui turns and looks my
大
way.
変失礼ながら、以前陛下にお言葉を頂戴したことはございましたでしょうか。このようにお尋ねしますのは、実は私、戦争の傷が元で古い記憶を失っております。もし拝謁の光栄に良くした記憶まで失っていたとするならば、この私、申し開きの言葉もなく。
Ask with the utmost humility. As Empress Hisui gazes at me, the corners of her eyes moisten ever so
あ
slightly.
りません。
お答えくださり、ありがとうございます。
あなたの記憶が戻ること、心より願います。
過分なお言葉でございます。
As I bow my head, Empress Hisui, surrounded by her guards, withdraws from the cafeteria. All the tension evacuates from my body. Seems like I really was just imagining things that Her Majesty doesn't actually know me. Things are still angry down here. Even still, our meeting wasn't without profit. After all goes well, we may be able to deliver flowers to the Imperial Palace. As long as I get my foot in the door, we'll be in business. I just hope the order comes in. Now, turn around to find that the brawl between the Imperials and Republicans is still in full swing. By the look of things, there are nearly 100 students embroiled in the back-and-forth melee. The president must have decided to just let things play out, as she's merely standing and watching from afar. Hotori rushes up to
水
me.
艇は無事避難された。
よかった。立場さえなければ飛び込んでいけるのに。悔しい。
こらえるのも仕事だ。
I pat Hotori on the back.
それで、この状況をどうする？
どうもこうも眺めてるしかないじゃない。
The moment Hotori shrugs her head, the firewalls on the outer windows falls down with a violent thud. The lights cut out, and the cafeteria is enveloped in a pitch black. Everyone freezes within the sudden darkness. Dumbass! The fuck are you doing, you goddamn troglodyte? Did you not remember the entire thing about not attracting attention? The entire reason why he saved Hisui is because it was, first off, kind of an emergency. Second off, people were fucking brawling it out. The amount of people that probably noticed him is very small. Besides, he is known to be a warrior, aka faithful to the Empress. It is natural he would help. Voice like lightning rends through the darkness. A thunderous voice which shakes the very foundations of the cafeteria. Much as all beasts instinctually fear lightning, the fighting spirit of every last brawler is quelled by that voice. Few select lights come on, and its master is brought into view. She looks down from her position on high. Every last pair of eyes in the room is inexorably drawn to her.
日常のままの生活をご希望されていた共和国人の態度は不遜極まりないとしても、それを快く受けられた陛下のお心を無にしたのは誰か。
The deafening silence is answer enough.
共和国人に問う。生徒会長が事態を収拾しようとしているにもかかわらず、耳を傾けぬのはなぜか。諸君らの行為は生徒会長の顔に泥を塗る行為である。
Akari summons a voice out of her entire body to make her appeal. With her back arched like a drawn bow, her bearing is as radiantly beautiful as a phoenix soaring into the sun. With a single gesture, she instantly dispels the oppressive atmosphere of violence suffocating the room. Figuratively, to be sure, but Akari has the strength of presence to make it feel literal.
両者に問う。諸君らの行為は誇りある人間のするべきことか。
Akari's voice continues to reverberate through the cafeteria. In that moment, I see before my very eyes a vision of Akari boldly rallying her forces on the battlefield, and a vision of myself standing at her right hand before fearlessly charging the enemy lines. Sounds like fucking schizophrenia. The entire cafeteria is once again bathed in light. The quarreling students look like they've all just woken up from a collective trance. They might very well be wearing the exact same expression. With that, Akari ends her address. The air of discord has completely dissipated from the room, as though remembering how they ought to be. Yay, if every last student immediately returns to their seat.
無人帳のことといい、あの子なかなか根性があるわね。
あ、今頃わかったか。
もう
I smiled at Hotari's pouting expression, and we returned to our original seats.
あかり、お見事だった。
どう？なかなかでしょ。
Akari puffs out her
と
chest.
いうのは冗談で、本当にすごく安心してる。後先考えずにやっただけだから。いやいや、なかなか立派なものだ。君には将来、私の財閥に入ってもらいたいな。もうやめて。
Akari smiles bashfully.
私は照明担当をやらせていただきました。
素晴らしいタイミングで暗くしてくれたな。見事。
ありがとうございます。
Kotara happily scratches her head.
注目を集めちゃったけど大丈夫？
Akari peers at the student council president. She's staring at us with her ever-calm eyes.
大丈夫だろ
As for me, I'm happy Akari chose to extol Princess Hisui in her speech. Despite knowing Empress Hisui is an imposter, she adapted to the situation and conducted herself splendidly. There's no doubt that she's grown considerably since the two of us first met. If she were to take a stand and offer us her support in restoring the Empire, her future will surely be a bright one. The deadline Akari and I set will be upon us in just 5 more days. I have no time to waste in getting her to give up on her assassination plot.
ただいま帰りました。
宗人君、君って男は本当に男の中の男ですね。
I think Hisui called after school on Wednesday. Whenever I have to shop, the manager proffers me a single rose.
なんですこれは。
記念です。ぜひ受け取ってください。
花をもらっても困ります。
花屋がなんてことを言うんです。
The manager definitely trims the stem and sticks it in my
似
hair.
合うじゃない。
それはどうも。
I pluck the flower off my head and place it in my lapel pocket.
先ほど定休から花の発注があったんです。定休ですよ、定休。お宅の時田に世話になった例だと言われましてね。いやー、驚きました。あんまり驚いて思わずうちに時田なんて男はいないと言ってしまいました。
いや、困ります。
冗談ですけどね。
Akira and I both let out a sigh.
それでどんな注文が来たんですか？
忘れなぐさの鉢植えを20鉢。細かいところはこちらにお任せだそうです。
忘れなぐさ？どんな花？
ちょうどこの時期、可憐な青い花を咲かせている。翡翠亭にはよく似合うだろうな。
へえ、可憐ですか？そうですか。
焼くな。
焼いてないです。
それで宗人君にはここに行ってもらいたいのですが。
The manager hands me a slip of paper with the name and contact information of a horticulturist.
清州ですか。
Well, look,
車で片道3時間ですね。
horticulturist. Horticulturist. Feels like it feels wrong. That feels like it's not the right word, and I don't know why.
こちらの忘れなぐさは広告一の品質なんです。明日の市場には出ないらしいので、今から直接買い付けてきてください。
今から？
定休からの注文だ。何があろうと明日の朝一番に届けなくては。
それも広告一の品質のものをです。麹や青果店の名にかけ、絶対に悪い品は出せません。
Reach out to clasp the manager's outstretched
頼
hand.
みました、宗人君。
任せてください。
翡翠亭万歳。
マン。
I feel a need like layer boring into the back of my head.
何？遠慮しないで言って。
晩ご飯は車の中だな。
でしょうね。
Hi, Hotori.
いらっしゃいませ。
Hello there, Mitsumi. I'll stop. Literally. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. See you next time. Bye-bye.